After a night of passion, Petra and James wake up together early in the morning. Petra rushes out to go to class, but James decides to stay in bed a little longer. This causes him to oversleep, and by the time he wakes up again, he's already late. He runs through the city as fast as he can until he makes it to his philosophy class, where the teacher Mr. Zimmett at first considers not letting him, but eventually he opens the door. Today is the last school day, and Mr. Zimmett wants the students to tell them about their favorite thought exercise they've gone through. Chips mentions the infinite monkey theorem, which says that if you give a monkey a typewriter and an infinite amount of time, it will eventually type out the entire Hamlet. Jack mentions the trolley problem, which says you have a lever to choose if a train will kill 1 or 4 people. Just for fun, they change that riddle into the obese man problem, where you have to option to push a fat man on the tracks to stop the trolley. Georgina likes the ignorant bliss paradox. In this one, someone is hanging off the highest tower in the city on purpose to test if their friends will help them. However, their friends are afraid if they try to pull them up, they might be yanked over themselves, so they step back. The person falls and lives, but now they wonder if it truly is better knowing that their friends wouldn't save them or if ignorance is bliss. Zimmett decides that they will do one last thought exercise to finish the school year. The class must assume there is an impending atomic apocalypse and imagine a bunker that will give them shelter for a year. Zimmett begins narrating the scene to make everyone use their imaginations, picturing an area surrounded by nuclear explosions. As Zimmett takes them through an imaginary tour of the bunker, he points out the problem. There are only supplies for 10 people. The class has 20 students in it, so they have to decide which of them to let in and who stays out. On top of that, there isn't much time to decide before the atomic radiation reaches them. Georgina refuses to participate because she thinks it's just like discussing eugenics, but when Zimmett describes how gruesome and painful it is to die under radiation, she accepts to play. Petra also refuses to participate and even stands up to leave, knowing that she's always had perfect grades and Zimmett can't hurt her by lowering them a bit. However, Zimmett threatens to lower James' grades instead, which would make him fail the class, and Petra has no choice but to stay. Next, Zimmett distributes cards containing the random profession each student will have in the exercise. He opens the box for James first, and after he takes a card, Zimmett goes to the desk to cough before handing a card to Petra. Then he coughs against at the desk before giving cards to everyone else. Now the students can look at the professions they got. All these jobs vary in themes, from harpist and wine auctioneer to astronaut and chemist. Toby reveals he's a published poet, but he barely gets to finish talking before Zimmett shoots him, revealing he took the gun from the bunker. Zimmett explains that this is more humane than letting him die by radiation, since he wouldn't get into the bunker anyway because a poet isn't useful when humanity must be rebuilt. Zimmett also explains he's part of the exercise, but his profession is hidden so he should be seen as a wild card. Afterward, each student defends their right to enter the bunker and they proceed to vote. The first 9 choices are those who they consider useful for survival: Petra the structural engineer, James the farmer, Georgina the orthopedic surgeon, Chips the carpenter, Jack the chemist, Bonnie the soldier, Annie the electrician, Poppy the psychotherapist, and Omo Seed the senator. There are also 9 that quickly get voted out for not being useful: Vivian the zoologist, Beatrice the fashion designer, Parker the gelato maker, Kavi the real estate agent, Russell the harpist, Plum the hedge fund manager, Nelson the housekeeper, Mitzi the wine auctioneer, and Yoshiko the astronaut. The last place must be chosen between Zimmett and Utami the opera singer. Petra thinks a wild card is a risk, but Jack points out that an opera singer is a luxury and he'd rather risk it with Zimmett, who may have a useful secret. Zimmett wins, and now that the groups are completed, they take 5 minutes to say goodbye, so they move the desks around to pretend they're having their final words. Suddenly they hear some gunshots and discover Zimmett has killed everyone who didn't get a spot, again saying it was the humane thing to do. The group is shocked, and Petra whispers to James that she doesn't want Zimmett in the bunker anymore. James makes a plan and asks everyone to gather some plants before going into the bunker, claiming they're keeping them for replanting when they come out. While everyone is separated to do the gathering, James goes to each of them in turn and tells them of his plan. When the time comes, the group enters the bunker and disables the external keypad before closing the door while Zimmett is left outside. Then they take a look at the different rooms. There's an artificial garden, a day bed, a gym, books, and other things to supposedly avoid depression. In the evening, while everyone sleeps on the cots, James meets Petra on the big bed and tells her he can get through anything with her. Once James falls asleep, Petra goes to check on Zimmett and finds him slowly burning under the radiation. Suddenly Zimmett holds up a piece of paper that says only he has the exit code. Petra immediately calls the group and they begin arguing over what to do, unsure if believing Zimmett or not. In the end they decide to ignore him, and they begin to live through the year in the bunker. It's incredibly boring, and they barely can keep themselves busy with mundane tasks. Every day Petra checks on Zimmett's body, which is slowly rotting, and occasionally a dog comes to munch on it. Once the year passes, the group gets ready to come out, only to discover Zimmett had been right. The lock asks for an exit code. The students proceed to use different methods to try to